Welcome to the Clinical Cousins YouTube channel. And this video is going to be on vaccines, more specifically mRNA vaccines. So traditionally, vaccines have taken up to a decade to gain approval for use. With mRNA vaccines, we're finding out that we can have these ready in a way shorter amount of time. Why can we do that? Is it safe? What's the difference in these vaccines between traditional vaccines? And what's the safety profile for these? So to understand that, first we're going to have to understand a little bit about immunology. We're just going to discuss how viruses actually function in the body, how they make us sick. So these are viral cells I've drawn here, more specifically the Covid-19 virus. And viral cells dock onto cells and actually release their contents inside of cells. Now what they release is their DNA and RNA. And they do this because a virus, when it releases its contents into a cell, they take over the machinery of the cell to become virus-producing factories. So they release their blueprints inside the cell, and these blueprints tell the machinery of your cell how to make more of the virus. So they'll produce more of the COVID-19 virus. In fact, they'll reproduce until they fill the cell up till it can't even hold any more of the virus, and it will lyse open and spill more of the virus out into your body, repeating the process on other cells. Our immune system, however, comes into play as when this process starts to take place, we have cells called T cells that actually go and they're like security guards for our cells. They dock onto a cell and they say, is this cell, first off, is it mine? Because if it's not, I need to attack it. And second off, what's going on inside? Is there something going on inside? Is there somebody up to no good? So when it determines that this cell has some abnormal activity in it, it will actually use the immune system to kill this cell and take some of the contents with it back to the lymphatic system and carry this back as an antigen presenting cell to the immune system so that the immune system can devise a way to figure out how are we going to fight this. So in the lymph system, it's almost like a jail for it. It brings it into contact with B cells. And these B cells, when they find the germ, the virus, the bacteria, or the protein that matches up with it, they become activated and start pumping out what's called antibodies. Some of them become antibody producing cells called plasma B cells. Others become memory B cells to hang around with the mugshot, should you say, of the bacteria or virus. So if it comes in contact with it again, it can start making these antibody producing cells quicker so that your body can start fighting this virus or bacteria faster. Now this system's great. The only problem with this system is it's slow. So the system itself being slow means that in the process of your body trying to develop an immune response, you can get very sick or even die. So knowing this, scientists decided that they would come up with something called vaccines. Now, vaccines are used to introduce your body to these viruses or bacteria before you're infected with them in quantities that shouldn't make you sick. They should allow your immune system to be able to attack them. So the way we used to in the past would make them is we would use a weakened form of the actual virus or a weakened form of the bacteria, and it would take a long time for them to figure out exactly the right amount that could be introduced without getting you sick with actually the virus or bacteria itself. I think with polio, it was somewhere around 1 in every 1,000 people that received the vaccine actually ended up getting polio and becoming having complications because of actually receiving the vaccine itself. So why can we make these mRNA vaccines so much quicker? Well, what scientists found out is that we can take the DNA or RNA of a bacteria, which is the blueprint on how to make that, and we simply need to isolate the portion of the RNA that deals with the production of one part of that virus. So now instead of your body having to be introduced to the whole virus in order for you to build an immune response, we can take one portion of that that's only used to create something like that spike protein, which is how COVID likes to enter ACE2 sites in our body. So they took the RNA or the part of the blueprint that says this is how you make the spike that the virus likes to use to enter into the cells in your body, and they separated it so it wouldn't make the whole virus, and they packaged it in something we call into mRNA. mRNA is messenger RNA. It's a special type of RNA that tells the machinery in your cell how to produce more of something. So it's the same mechanism that the virus uses to reproduce itself. So this mRNA is then injected through the vaccine into your body. It goes into the cell and it tells the cell to start producing these spikes. So you start producing a ton of these spikes. Now the beauty of it is the spikes aren't what make you sick, it's the virus. So we're just producing the S protein, or the spike protein, that it uses to enter, so your body can learn to recognize it early and start developing antibodies to defend when it sees it again. So we're giving it the instruction, we're giving it the mug shot in order so it can recognize it. Now the same process goes on. The T cells then see it and they say this is abnormal. They'll kill that cell, which actually kills the mRNA vaccine that's been injected as well. So your body will actually remove all of the vaccine as it's killing the cell. It'll take the little spikes, it'll put them in gel, it'll let them line up with the B cell, it'll find the match for it, and when it finds a match, it'll start producing antibodies, so that when you come into contact with COVID, hopefully weeks later after receiving the vaccine, your body already can recognize it and start the fight early, instead of this process like it normally does, taking days to weeks to develop a response. Now everybody's immune system works differently. So can you still get the COVID virus? Well, yeah, when it's entering in and your body has to fight it. So it depends on how much antibody production you have to the vaccine, or your natural immune response if you've had COVID before. This just gives you a better chance of having antibodies ready to attack it, so you don't end up severely ill, and hopefully you don't get an infection at all, which is the point where it burdens your body so much you get sick. So I hope this video was enlightening. I hope we can see the difference in mRNA vaccines and old traditional vaccines, which actually carry more side effects because we're actually using a deadened form of viruses, and this we're only using a portion of it. And if you like our content, please like and subscribe.